It isn't very often that a game comes along and the only way that I can actually describe it is by calling it art. And Deltarune is one of those games. This is one of the most unique gaming experiences I've had and does a lot of unique things that other games have never done before. And honestly, it might be my pick for my favorite game that I've played this year. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So what makes this game so magical? What made me so excited that I had to make a video about it? Well, let me tell you about what the game is. So the game Deltarune itself is the follow-up to the wildly successful Undertale, which I'm sure you've heard about, but if you haven't, it's a game by legendary game designer TobyFox. It's an adorable, fun RPG indie game in a gorgeous pixel art style that you should definitely check out, that had a lot of interesting gameplay elements that Deltarune took and kind of built upon. Essentially, you can think of Deltarune as an alternate timeline that's within the Undertale world. In this game, you play as the main character, Chris, who at the start of the game, you're late for school, so you show up to school one day, the teacher is putting together a group project, and since you're late, you have to pick your classmate to do this group project with. Everyone else has already picked their partners, but you, since you came in late, you're stuck being partnered with Susie, who is the school bully, and very scary at that. As part of your punishment for coming in late, other than being partnered up with Susie, who you weren't super excited about, your teacher makes you go and get some chalk from the supply closet so that they can continue on with the lesson. But when you get to the supply closet, it's not necessarily a regular closet because that would not make for an exciting game, and instead it's a portal to another world of Deltarune. You arrive in this magical world in your alternate superhero form that I'm calling it because it's really, really cool, and you meet up with the prince of the world, who tells you their name is Ralsei, and they tell you about this amazing story about three heroic adventures that need to go and seal these fountains of darkness that are gonna take over the world. And that's really all I'm gonna get into about the story because honestly, I don't want to give any spoilers, but that's the overview of like the main story of the game, just enough so that you can understand what's going on. So that's the story, but what kind of game is Deltarune? And this is a question that I was having a hard time explaining on stream when people were asking me what the game was about. I just kept going back to, well, it's kind of like Undertale, and it is, but the game itself is an indie RPG with bullet hell elements and also a very, very story-driven narrative adventure. The choices that you make in this game are very important to how the game plays out, more so than a lot of games that I played. On the surface, the game seems very simple, but there's so many decisions that like make you really question your morality, and some of the decisions you make early on in the game really affect how the game plays later on. How characters feel about you will come back to bite you in the ass, and it's really, really crazy how much replayability is in such a small, simple game. I really shouldn't use this coffee cup because it's invisible. All of the encounters in the game also have different ways that you can go about beating them, and how you solve these different encounters also plays a vital part to how the game plays out as well. So when you get into a battle with something, oftentimes you'll have the ability to either fight it and defeat it with pure raw strength, or there could be different other ways that you can solve the encounter non-violently and be more of like a pacifist. If you have played Undertale, this is something that is not new to you. Anyone who's played the game knows exactly how that works, and in Deltarune, it's no different. It works kind of the same way like that. The game itself is absolutely gorgeous as well. It's this beautiful pixel art design that I really, really fell in love with. It's incredible how much personality is in the game as well, even with just using such a simple art style. The environments are full of life. The places you go have so much feeling and emotion to them, and the character design is absolutely fantastic. The dialogue in this game is amazing, just absolutely amazing. There's so much feeling in every single moment of the game that it really just was baffling me how invested I was getting in the story as I was playing it. There's no voice acting in the game, although the soundtrack is amazing, which I'll get to in a second. But the dialogue itself gives you so much feeling. If you're playing along and you're like me, you feel like you have to voice act every single character, because apparently that's just a thing I do. It was really, really easy to kind of get a feel for how all these characters would interact with each other, how they would sound. The dialogue, I keep saying it, but it absolutely blew me away how much personality they were able to give all the characters and all the environments in this game. It's amazing. But I alluded to it, so whatever, I'll just talk about it. The soundtrack is amazing. So Undertale was celebrated for its amazing soundtrack, and Deltarune is the exact same. The soundtrack is fantastic. I found myself just listening to it on Spotify, just on repeat, because it's so good. Very well composed. All the music is great. You have to listen to it. It's just super good, and all of the music really ties into the feeling of the game itself, giving so much personality to the game. I keep saying it, but it's just the truth. The music really kind of ties the whole experience together and adds to the charm. Also, if you have played Undertale, which again I'm just going to recommend you do, there are a lot of like fan servicey Easter eggs that you can find in the game that really just kind of like give you callbacks to the original game. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that character from Undertale, or I remember this X, Y, and Z. And the game really loves its anagram. So if you'll notice, Deltarune itself is an anagram for Undertale, which if you move things around and you're like, oh, there it is. It's in front of my face the whole time. There's also some returning characters in the game that have anagrams for characters in this game, and some of them are like spoilery and secret, so I'm not gonna get into it. But at the start of the game, your mom does mention that your cousin Azrael is coming to visit you, and when you meet the Prince of Deltarune, their name is Ralsei, and if you do some smart moving around, Ralsei, Azrael, there's a lot of it in the game. The game is anagram heavy, which I love. It's just super cute, and again, just adds to the charm of the game. There are returning characters as well from Undertale, like Alphys or Alphys. I'm going to mispronounce all of them, and someone on the internet is going to yell at me, but whatever. They're your teacher in your classroom as well, so when you go and you're like, oh, I remember them. So there's a whole bunch of those as well. Again, I don't want to get into any type of spoilers because you should just play the game, but it's really cool just that they give all these callbacks to Undertale and really flesh out the universe as a whole. It's funny, when I was writing up my bullet points for this review, like the amount of reverence that I wanted to pay to Undertale and to Deltarune by not giving any spoilers at all is more than I've ever done when I'm covering a game. So that in itself should let you know how important of an experience this is. The game is fantastic. So the game itself is broken down into multiple chapters, and basically how it works, so chapters 1 and 2 are out right now. Each of them is like a story or a chapter in a book. That's why they're called chapters. So chapters 1 and 2 are out. They're both on Steam. You can just download it and play them completely free, so they don't cost anything. Right now, both chapters are completely free to play, and not like free to play like a lot of games are free to play. They're just free. You download them, you play them, you have the game. So the first 2 chapters are free, and TobyFox has said the rest of the chapters are going to be paid content. I have no idea what they're going to cost, but they will cost some money, which they should, because they're amazing. The first couple of chapters are pretty short, so chapter 1 I think took me like 3 or so hours to play. Chapter 2 I think took 4 or 5 hours to get through. I played them both back to back on one stream of Twitch, and I think the whole thing around was like 7-8 hours or so to play both of them. No, it was about 9 hours or so to play both of them. And the entire time I just kept wanting more. So that should tell you how good it is. I'm hoping we get the next chapter sooner. There was a substantial break between chapter 1 and 2 coming out. I think chapter 1 came out in October 2018. We just got chapter 2 a couple weeks ago, so it'll be like September 15th, 2021, which is the year that it's in, and I forgot, and I had to look that up. I've got problems. But there were a lot of things that went on between those years. I guess TobyFox said that he was trying to learn a different programming language to put it in. The game's made in GameMaker Pro, I believe, so he was trying to do something else and decided to go back to GameMaker. He was also dealing with like wrist injuries, blah, blah, blah. So I'm hoping that now that things are set, the rest of the chapters are going to come out quicker, because I'm I became addicted to it. I've played through it a couple times now too, just because I wanted to see what my choices would affect. So if I did different things, even between like chapter 1 and 2, decisions you make in the first chapter will come into play in the second chapter, which kind of blew me away a little bit, especially because it was like a few years between them. I had friends that were telling me like, yeah, I forgot, and then like this thing I did, I remembered that it happened. So it's really, really cool how they all kind of tie in together like that. I have nothing but good things to say about this game. I'm being very serious when I say this could be my favorite game of the year. It may be tied for first or second place for my favorite game of this entire year. You owe it to yourself to check it out, especially if you've never played these games before. If you've never played like Undertale, do it. That one's, you just do it. But yeah, Deltarune, it's completely free. You know, it's not a huge time commitment. You're doing yourself a disservice by not checking out. It's super charming. I loved every minute of it. And really, that's all I have to say about the game because I can't say too much. I don't want to give any spoilers at all. So you just have to check it out for yourself. Honestly, that's all I got. I don't want this one to be super long. I'd rather you just go check it out. I just wanted to bring this game to your attention. If you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't played it, go check it out. You'll absolutely love it. It's super great. And that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't, don't let me know because I'm a fragile guy and I'll cry on the internet. Not really, you can let me know. It's totally fine. I love you very much. I appreciate you so much for checking this out. You're beautiful. And until next time, you stay saucy. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell notification, and help me destroy the YouTube algorithm overlords by leaving a comment and liking this video. I appreciate you very much. You're amazing, and until next time, you stay saucy.